My new comic, Thunderhead, is on Kickstarter right now. Go check it out and enjoy the episode. Thanks. I'm letting the cat out of the bag here a little bit, but Thunderhead is only the first of a number of superheroes, 1960s kind of counterculture inspired superheroes that appear in Thunderhead. Especially, they make their first appearance in this first issue that's on Kickstarter right now, but their full story really begins in the second issue, which will, that'll be the next Kickstarter in a few months from now. Maybe I'm hoping to do a new issue every 2-3 months, something like that. So there are other superheroes. This one is called the Seeker. He's kind of I started drawing him first. I looked at all the characters and I said, who should I draw first? And this guy popped up because he's kind of my favorite to draw. He's the most Jack Kirby inspired character. Something between, he's got a little bit of he's kind of the Black Power character of the group, and he's got aspects of the Marvel version, Marvel's Black Panther. He's got a little bit of the Jack Kirby's the Black Racer from New Gods. He's kind of a high evolutionary. He's got a bunch of kind of crazy Jack Kirby ideas mixed in. He's kind of a super scientist is how I think of him. He's like a very a logical supercomputer kind of a guy, kind of a character. Although at the same time he's much more militant and takes his job, takes his mission in the world much more seriously than the rest of the group. The rest of the group is a lot more, hippie style. I wouldn't say necessarily easygoing, but more freewheeling, more fun, and he's kind of the serious character of the group that reminds them of their important task in the world. So yeah, he's an interesting character, and yeah, like I said, his design more than anything is really the most Jack Kirby inspired. I think a lot of his New God stuff, the Forever People, stuff like that, and some of his earlier Marvel work too. So I'll be doing these. I'm doing probably like one sketch per week that I'll be filming while I sketch it, and I'll throw that up there on the Kickstarter as an add-on that people can buy. Probably one per week, probably all the different characters from Thunderhead, from this group. Should I say what the name of the group is? I'll probably just wait. You should probably just read the comic to find out stuff like that. On the technical side, I use a color erase. I don't even know if these, I've been looking for these things, I can't find them. They're very hard to find now. Prismacolor, color erase, they're like animation pencils. I just like how the lead is kind of smooth on the paper, goes on smooth, and it feels nice. It doesn't really erase very well, but generally I just don't erase them. That's kind of one of the things about them, is that they're animation pencils that don't show up all that much when you either photocopy or scan them or whatever. So that's why animators use them a lot. This guy's name, did I mention his name? His name is the Seeker. That's why he's got an S. Also, obviously a bit of a nod of the hat to Superman, but he's got an S on his chest and surrounded by what I think of as a very Jack Kirby inspired costume. Lots of kind of Jack Kirby elements in this costume, So I use color erase. I generally, much like my writing and everything else, I'm relatively methodical in the way that I approach these things. I like to have it pretty figured out before I go in with the inks. I like to have the structure of the drawing kind of figured out. A lot of the times when I'm working in my sketchbook, I can just go straight with ink, or sometimes even like there's commission, character, sketches that I do in, like, for example, the hardcover, the Deadly Class hardcovers. And with those, I'm so used to them that I just go straight with a pen or a Sharpie, and they turn out, really good. So I know that I'm kind of capable of just going straight in with very basic pencil lines and just go straight in with the ink. But I don't know, I just can't quite cross that bridge, I guess. I just like to feel comfortable and feel like I'm not going to make some big mistake in the drawing that'll force me to like redo the drawing. I'd rather kind of, measure twice, cut once. My grandfather was a carpenter, so maybe that's part of it there. That saying, I kind of like that saying, that it's like I don't really do freewheeling stuff myself. I try to do it right the first time, so I don't have to do a bunch of do-overs. But that's just the way that I do it. To each his own, as I always say. Yeah, pretty funky costume on this guy. I like this one. He's got a staff, actually, too. I don't really have the space to properly draw in this sketch, but hopefully the costume, even without the staff, looks pretty cool. Got these kind of floating discs as part of his costume, which are obviously like a nod to the floating discs that some of the new gods, and especially Mr. Miracle. Is it just Mr. Miracle? I'm not sure, actually. Mr. Miracle uses them, and uses them to glide across Apocalypse or Earth or wherever he is. Kind of that kind of a style. Lots of cool looking metal stuff for this guy. So yeah, I use these color erase pencils. I get it pretty figured out. The structure of the drawing, I'll just put an indication of my signature there, because I often forget to put that and then I regret it. What else? What else does this guy need? I think he just needs like I'll throw in a little basic lighting for him. That I can be a little bit more kind of quick with, because I know that I can figure a lot of that out in the, I know I can figure a lot of that out in the inking stage. I just leave myself like a general idea of where to put the lighting. You can kind of use, also, I like kind of going quick with the pencil on the lighting, because it gives me ideas in the lighting stage. If you do it chunky, that looks really good, but if you add a little bit of dashes and kind of energy to it, it can add a lot of, I don't know, kind of dynamic power to the drawing, I find. Like most superheroes, I find he probably looks best when he's casting quite a bit of like dramatic lighting. There. That's the pencils. This is a Graphic 3 micron. Actually, this one's pretty chewed up, so I'm gonna grab another one that's a little bit more, got a better edge to it. I don't see a lot of people use these, but I find for me, speed-wise, because a lot of it is very much dependent on, like, you know, it's a very deadline-driven kind of world. Comic books, North American comic books at least, and most comic book worlds really. But for me, I need to use tools that can kind of get the job done, and that, you know, that I'm happy with, that look to me really good, but also that get the job done relatively quickly. I really enjoy inking with a brush. I love the natural line to it and all that stuff, but for me, it's like I never got good enough at the brush, in my opinion, that I felt like I could use it for my deadline pages. I do use a brush for other things though sometimes, you know, for sketchbooks and for work that doesn't have a deadline on it. And I'd like, you know, that's one of those things that one day, when I have the time, if that ever happens for me, I'd like to get better at the brush and really figure it out and really get really good at it. That might happen, that might not, who knows. So yeah, this one, I like to use this one because you can get, well, I'll show you right here. You get a pretty thin line, and you can quickly turn that into a very thick line. Like, I'll use this here, and then I need it to be thick here, and then you can use the chisel edge, like the flat edge, and get really thick lines there. So yeah, I find that's useful. Again, generally to speed things up, I don't really fill in the blacks until the very end. Because again, if I've done my job right, I kind of given myself a pretty good impression of where the blacks will go and if they'll look good in the final drawing. So I don't worry too much. That's one thing, you know, after years and years of experience, I feel pretty confident in that aspect for sure, that I think I have a pretty good idea of how the drawing's going to look when I'm done. Again here, relatively, you know, thin line. And then when I need to, I can turn it a little bit and get a pretty thick line. Not yet, but soon. And also, this one's a little bit old, so there's an edge here where you can get that really good for smoke and really good for kind of edges with a little bit of gradation to them, not like a hard edge, you know. So often you can, I guess if you're doing this here, it's like this is the hard edge of the ball right here on this side, and then this side is can be a bit more gradual. And this is a garbage drawing, of course. I think you understand though that what I'm trying to get at is that this is like a crisp, clean, hard edge on one side of the ball, and on the other side of the ball you can go very gradually from black into white, you know. You can give that kind of impression in your drawings here too, with this pen. If you've got, you know, you got to wait for it to get old enough that it gives you that effect. When it's brand new, it doesn't really give you that effect. All the lines are pretty crisp, and that's useful for more, you know, technical stuff and stuff that doesn't have that kind of gradation that you need. line here for metal stuff. I think that gives the impression that it's the shiniest thing in the drawing. When you leave some of that open, it's like it's so shiny right there where the light catches it that there wouldn't be a line, you know. You wouldn't see the line. And that can happen on skin. It doesn't really happen on cloth and material unless it's very shiny material. I think that helps the believability of the drawing. I feel like while I'm talking about these things, I feel like I sound like Bob Ross while I'm doing some of these things. Just doing a shiny little metal here, maybe with a little friend, a little squirrel over there up in a tree. I used to watch those Bob Ross shows when I would come home from high school and just chill out in front of the TV while I was waiting for dinner to be made, because I was a spoiled brat as a kid. just joking, you know, that happens for a lot of people had their dinners made, I guess, when they were in high school. But anyway, yeah, I would watch, me and my brother, me and Drew, we would watch a lot of Bob Ross after we got home from high school. And I always found his commentary on his drawings, you know, on his paintings, I should say. I always found them very soothing. So I don't know, maybe you're getting some of that from me too. I hope that would be nice if you enjoy feeling a little zen just watching somebody draw and talk about their drawing in a very in very dulcet tones. Then I'm glad I could do that for you. Thunderhead, superheroes on acid. That's all you really need to know about it. It's me and Kevin Castanero making some comic book magic, and it is on Kickstarter starting at the end of July and going all the way through August. So we've got just amazing art, some amazing covers from my buds at Lethal Comic Books, Carl Kerschel, Andy Belanger. I'm doing a cover, Kevin's doing a cover. I am doing flashback. I'm writing the series and doing some flashback stuff. Kevin is doing the bulk of the amazing artwork that you got to check out. With every issue, like with every issue, there will be, what do we got? We got a free sketchbook, we got a free poster, free stickers, along with the actual oversized comic book that you'll get. So yeah, on Kickstarter, check it out. Thanks for listening.